unspoken shift. When your presence changes the room. They won't say it out loud, but the room says it for them. The volume drops half an inch. Smiles hold a breath too long and don't quite reach the eyes. The sentence that was full and easy a second ago stumbles, then looks for a softer place to land. No one was interrupted. No one was corrected. Nothing rude happened. You walked in, and the air recalibrated. It's not arrogance. It's not an attitude you put on like a coat. It's coherence. Coherence doesn't announce itself. It arrives as steadiness in the breath, unhurried posture, the kind of attention that doesn't scatter in the first gust of noise. It's a signal the nervous systems around you pick up before anyone finds a word for it. People call it an aura because they feel it first and explain it later, but what they're re-registering isn't a cartoon glow. It is the psychological signature of a person who stopped outsourcing their center. Jung would say the tension is older than the faces in the room. We're all wearing a useful mask, the persona that lets us function in public, and we're all carrying a locked trunk, the shadow that holds what we had to hide to keep the mask on. Life in most rooms is a polite contract. Keep the mask shiny, keep the trunk quiet, and we'll all get along. When someone walks in who has begun the slow, unglamorous work of bringing mask and trunk to the same table, the contract starts to hum. You didn't bring a spotlight. You didn't call anyone out. Your coherence does the calling. It says without words, I am here as a whole person. I won't pretend. For some, that whisper feels like oxygen. For others, it feels like exposure. The difference isn't about good people and bad people. It's about readiness. Mirrors either comfort or confront, depending on which day you meet them. If you've been told you're too intense, too serious, too deep, overthinking, you've probably felt the sting of being mislabeled for being honest. Intensity is often code for, you didn't play the surface game the way we need you to. Serious is often code for you done to use laughter to dodge the truth at the exact moment we always do. Overthinking is often code for you notice patterns we aren't ready to see. You're not dragging anyone into the deep end. You're just refusing to live in the kiddie pool when your lungs were built for open water. That refusal has a cost if you don't know how to carry it. Without practice, empathy turns into absorption. You will go home heavy with feelings that don't belong to you. Without boundaries, clarity turns into isolation. You will confuse other people, discomfort for a verdict on your worth, and start shrinking to fit rooms that were never built to hold you. Let's give all of this a more human name. What you carry is a kind of honest gravity. People sense it even if they couldn't explain it to themselves at 3 a.m. with the lights on. Honest gravity steadies the eyes. It slows the mouth down just enough to keep the soul in the sentence. It keeps the shoulders low, not as a trick, but because you have nothing to lift to look bigger. It makes your no sound like the natural border of a life rather than a punishment. It makes your yes sound like the kind of commitment that will exist tomorrow, not just for likes. Honest gravity doesn't chase anyone, and that alone is enough to scramble a room built on chasing and being chased. Here is the thing people rarely tell the one who carries honest gravity. You will get blamed for the feelings you didn't cause. Someone's shame wakes up in your quiet and calls you judgmental. Someone's anxiety rises in your calm and calls you cold. Someone's control loses traction on your steadiness and calls you arrogant. It will take practice to hear those words as translations. I feel exposed. I don't know how to feel safe without noise. I'm scared I can't control you like I control myself. It will take even more practice not to argue with translations. Explanation is oxygen for projections. You don't owe your insides to everyone who panics when they meet them. Softening where you can is kindness. Shrinking so others don't have to feel their own tremor is self-erasure. There's another truth worth keeping close. Rooms are not neutral. Some are altars to performance. Some are kitchens where truth is cooked slowly until it's nourishing. Some are theaters where applause matters more than feeling. Some are porches where the temperature drops just enough for candor to live. Your body already knows which is which. It told you the first 10 seconds you walked in. Your chest tightened or opened. Your jaw braced or unclenched. Your eyes started scanning for exits or settled into faces. You don't need to make a speech to change how you move in those spaces. You need to trust the map your body hands you and stop asking for permission to use it. If presence is honest gravity, then the first skill is signal hygiene. Before rooms, before calls, before gatherings with people you love and people who love the idea of you, give the nervous system a ritual so simple it can't be ignored. Sit in a chair that lets your feet find the floor. Let the jaw be a little open so the tongue isn't trapped against the roof of your mouth. Inhale to a quiet 4, pause to a clean 4. Let the exhale be a 6 that doesn't force its way out. Picture a clear circle around you the size of your reach. Not a wall because you're not at war. Not a net because you're not catching anything. A frame. Put your name on the frame. Not the one they gave you in that one version of your life. The one you answer to when nobody is watching. Whisper, "I choose what enters." And let your exhale finish the sentence so the body hears it as a felt decision, not a pretty idea. You will still be surprised by how often strangers choose you for confessions, and how often friends choose you for emergencies, and how often people in charge choose you for the responsibility of making them feel respected. That is a function of honest gravity. It makes people think they can step into your field and borrow steadiness. Sometimes they can, often they shouldn't. Stewardship isn't heroism, it's containment. Name time before you give it. Ask for mutuality where it's been earned. Close loops in your body when you can't close them in the relationship. Wash your hands under cold water after the story that was too heavy for the time you had. Walk around the block without headphones after the meeting that was secretly a theater for power. Write down one sentence that belongs to you, and only you, when everyone else tried to tell you who you were today. And then there's the loneliness nobody sees in the one who carries honest gravity. It's not the loneliness of being alone on a Friday night or not having enough invitations. It's the loneliness of frequency. Since you were a kid, you smelled the lies people told to keep the adults from falling apart. You asked the question that broke the spell at dinner. You felt the storm in someone else's lungs and couldn't define a name for what you were feeling in your own. People told you to lighten up. They told you to stop thinking so much. They told you to stop feeling so much. You tried for a while. You got sick in ways no doctor could diagnose. Then you stopped trying to be who you weren't, and the world shrank in one direction and expanded in another. Fewer rooms, truer rooms, less applause, more exhaling. The right people won't need a tunnel of explanations to meet you. They will breathe deeper when you arrive because their bodies recognize the air you carry. It will never be everyone. It doesn't have to be. Your job is not to convince the room to love you. Your job is to keep loving the part of you that refuses to trade truth for approval. The kindest sentence you will ever say to yourself on a day when eyes drop and laughter thins is this: "Nothing is wrong with me. Something is right with my signal." The second kindest: "If my presence makes the mask uncomfortable, that's the mask's weather report, not my forecast." The third: "I bless the room and leave it unchanged in its choosing, and I keep my center." Blessing sounds soft until you learn how to use it. It is the opposite of bitterness. It is the refusal to turn your heart into a scoreboard. It is the practice of handing the room back to itself without taking yourself out of your own hands. If all you remember from this first turn of the journey is a single phrase, let it be this: presence before pleasing. Not as a slogan to paste over discomfort, but as a small living rule you carry into the next moment. The rest of this will show you how that rule looks in ordinary life, the signs that your field is stronger than most, the human cost of carrying it without containment, the ways people will misname you and how not to swallow the label, the quiet rituals that keep your empathy from becoming a sponge and your clarity from becoming a cage. But for now, breathe, name the frame, choose what enters, and trust that the rooms meant for your signal will learn over time to love the way the air feels when you walk in. 13 signs your energy overwhelms others, and how to carry it without burning out. It usually starts as a compliment that doesn't feel like one. "You're too intense." It arrives with a polite smile that doesn't reach the eyes, a nice tone masking an unease that can't find its name. What they mean is, the second the conversation stepped off the script and onto the living floor, the air changed. The body knows the difference between words that perform and words that see. Yours tend to see. Not because depth is your hobby, but because the surface isn't enough oxygen for a life like yours. So the labels come: too serious, too deep, overthinker, all of them code for this single confession. You make me feel, and I'm not ready for what feeling might ask. If that sentence landed, keep listening, because in less than a minute you will hear the exact sentence that turns an empty "how is it going?" into a real doorway without sounding invasive. One tiny pivot that opens connection or lets it end cleanly, no guilt attached. Small talk isn't evil. It's just not food. You show up, you nod, you smile. Under the choreography, the battery drops like an app you forgot to close. It's not that you think you're above social rituals. It's that too many rituals are used to fence out anything real. A simple bridge saves you here. Slow your cadence a notch. Ask one question that allows either depth or decline with no pressure, and let the pause do its job. Try, what challenged you for real this week? If they step through, great. If they don't, also great. You protected your energy without shaming anyone into honesty. That tiny pivot increases your odds of substance and keeps your nervous system steady. In a moment, you'll get a second practice that drops the emotional load you didn't mean to carry after heavy conversations. 30 seconds that turn empathy from a sponge into a clean mirror. Confessions show up in grocery lines, boarding gates, waiting rooms, ordinary places that become chapels when a certain kind of quiet is nearby. I don't know why I'm telling you this, they say, and you do know. Souls recognize shelter even in strangers. It's humbling. It's holy. It's heavy. You can be a harbor without becoming a warehouse. Name time before you give it. I can listen for 10 minutes. Then I need to reset. Ask for mutuality when it's earned. Can we make this mutual? Refer out when your well is low. It's stewardship, not rejection. After, release what isn't yours with a simple physical signal. Hands under cold water for 30 seconds. Tell your body, this can go. That one ritual protects you from turning compassion into absorption and keeps you available for the next moment without resentment. Eye contact stops being etiquette and becomes encounter. Some people hold your gaze and soften. Others touch it like a live wire and look away. It's not your judgment they see, it's their reflection. Your attention is a mirror. Not everyone wants a surprise inventory of what they've been hiding while their persona smiles upstairs. You don't need to chase eye contact that doesn't want to be met today. Let people choose their depth. Let your gaze be spacious, not hunting. You will also notice something that used to be confusing. Your neutrality triggers strong reactions. You didn't challenge anyone, didn't posture, didn't try to win. Still, someone gets defensive, sharp, or cold. Calm destabilizes those who only trust chaos. Stillness threatens identities built on controlling the temperature of a room. When your presence says, "I'm not easily controlled," dominance goes looking for handholds. When it can't find them on you, it tries to find them about you. Don't bargain with panic. Consistency is your shield. The same boundary, the same response, every time, without explosions and without essays. Masks read as masks faster than you can find language. A laugh that doesn't touch the eyes. Niceness that smells like currency. Certainty that buckles under one sincere why. Seeing the mask doesn't obligate you to yank it off. You can name the protection inside yourself and still walk away with your heart open and your boundary clear. That's discernment without cruelty. Around your clarity, people start second-guessing themselves. They explain what didn't need explaining. They defend what wasn't attacked. It's not manipulation, it's contrast. Certainty borrowed from the crowd evaporates near someone whose center is internally sourced. The old you would have rushed to rescue. The current you offers choice. Do you want clarity or comfort? Then deliver what they chose and stop delivering what they didn't. Another scene hurts in a very specific way. Someone opens deeply, then vanishes. Recognition, relief. A door swings wide. Light pours in, then silence. You didn't say too much. You didn't move too fast. Their shadow woke up, and survival won the argument with growth. This time, chasing teaches the hiding part it can keep hiding, and you'll come find it. Bless and release teaches your loving part. It can keep loving without turning into a hunter. When the loop doesn't close in the relationship, close it in your body. 3 returns at night. Return to breath. 4 in, 4 hold, 6 out. Return to the body. Scan jaw, shoulders, gut, feet. Return to boundary. Choose 1 clean sentence you'll hold tomorrow. That doesn't work for me. You'll walk into the next day unhooked from yesterday's unfinished movie. In hierarchies, authority shifts around you. The loud one gets a shade quieter. The brittle one gets a shade sharper. Healthy leaders respect you more. Insecure ones resent you because your field communicates something they never had to notice before. You don't hold power over me. That's not rebellion, that's adulthood. The old theater will try to hand you the villain costume for having a spine. Your silence will be called judgment. Your self-respect will be called ego. Your solitude will be called rejection. Projection writes good drama to keep old stories intact. The antidote isn't a 3-paragraph defense. It's 1 clean line once. This is a boundary. This is a let their next line fall to the floor instead of into your mouth. Without your oxygen, the scene runs out of air. You read rooms before rooms introduce themselves. Tension has a taste. Resentment hums behind polite teeth. Unspoken rules blink like hazard lights. This isn't magic. It's the intuition that grows when you stop lying to yourself so often that inside time starts matching outside time. Without practice, that sensitivity is a sieve. You carry what never had your name on it. With practice, it's a filter. Place attention along the spine. Lower your breath into the belly. Feel your feet. Ask quietly, what belongs to me? What returns? Decide what enters. Let the rest pass like wind through reeds. You will also feel a kind of loneliness that's less about people and more about frequency. It's the sensation of having eyes that have always seen what the world pretends not to. You were called weird, dramatic, too much. One day those labels stopped punishing and started proving. Your soul refused to be trained out of its native language. There's grief in leaving the script everyone else is happily reading. There is relief too. The right people breathe deeper when you show up. The wrong people breathe easier when you leave. Let both happen. In between, keep small rituals that keep kindness from becoming kindling. 10-minute walks without headphones after heavy conversations. Cold water over hands to signal release. The 3 nightly returns that make tomorrow lighter than today. Before we turn the corner, hold this. You are not powerful because you overwhelm people. You are powerful because you refuse to betray yourself to keep people comfortable. That refusal is a threat only to those who believe love requires a performance and worth is a vote. Your life will teach a different language by how you live it. Some will learn, some will leave. Your job isn't to decide who does which. Your job is to keep your signal honest, your boundaries kind, and your heart intact. Now, stay with this next part, because it turns everything you've carried into something you can carry without shrinking. It's where empathy grows a backbone, where shadow work stops being theory, and where your no and yes start sounding like home. Sovereign empathy, wholeness over goodness, integrating shadow without hardening and carrying your light without shrinking. Jung's compass doesn't point toward being nice. It points toward being whole. Wholeness isn't tidy. It's aligned. It's the day your body, your voice, your choices, and your values say the same sentence when nobody's watching. From the outside, that looks like a lowered shoulder line, a jaw that doesn't lock, a gaze that doesn't hunt for approval, and a pace that lets truth keep up with your words. From the inside, it's a transfer of authority, from the crowd to the self. You can feel your spine come back to length after years of bending. If you want the fastest way to feel that shift, try a 1-minute gravity ritual before any room. Feet on the floor, breath low, jaw soft, eyes kind, and a single sentence in your chest. I stay with me. You'll be surprised how much performance anxiety falls off in the first 30 seconds of any meeting, call, or conversation when your body hears that. Goodness is often what we perform to avoid punishment and get belonging. Wholeness is what we practice to stop betraying ourselves for those rewards. One makes you easy to swallow, the other makes you real. You will be thanked and resented for the exact same boundary. sometimes by the same person in the same week. Your first no without a costume of apology will feel rough in your own mouth. Your first yes that arrives after thought, not panic, will carry guilt like weather. It's not coldness, it's adulthood. Over time, you learn the two most loving acts for any relationship. Tell the truth about what you can offer, and keep the promises you actually make. Everything else is theater that ends in resentment. A simple curiosity loop keeps you honest. What happens if I tell the truth earlier, softer, cleaner? The payoff is less rupture, more repair, less screaming no, more grounded no, less performative yes, more honest yes. Sovereign empathy is care with a spine, an open heart inside a firm frame. The open heart feels what a moment calls for. The firm frame keeps you from buying that moment with pieces of yourself. In practice, it means you can sit with someone's pain without drowning in it, feel someone's pull without confusing it for responsibility, witness a defense without needing to attack it, love someone's potential without putting your life on hold, waiting for it. In a culture that confuses love with self-erasure, this will be misread. Keep going. Love that requires your absence is simply control in a nicer outfit. If you want a quick way to experience sovereign empathy in the body, try this micro-visualization. See yourself in a hallway with doors on both sides. Some doors close with peace. One opens with light. You don't slam the closed ones. You don't apologize to the light. You walk toward it with your hands empty and your spine intact. Rare energy, honest gravity, needs ordinary rituals or it becomes static. Before you enter, do the gravity minute. After you leave, do a release minute. One short walk without devices, cold water over hands. And an exhale 1 inch longer than the inhale so your body knows it can set down what never had your name on it. Weekly, treat 3 appointments as sacred: sleep that repairs, movement that discharges, silence that decants. This isn't self-help garnish. It's signal hygiene. It keeps your field clean enough that other people's weather doesn't turn into your climate. And your boundaries? Stop framing them as arguments. Make them architecture. A calendar that reflects your real values is a boundary. A budget that matches your actual priorities is a boundary. A morning you don't hand to someone else's emergency is a boundary. A yes that waits for your gut to get a vote is a boundary. People who've always gotten their needs met by bypassing others, needs one, to clap when yours show up. People who loved your compliance will feel betrayed when you choose integrity. People who respect themselves will recognize what you're doing and meet you there. That's one of the quiet gifts of wholeness. The wrong people leave faster, the right people come closer. Wholeness demands you make peace with being misunderstood. Projection is how most people survive contact with disowned parts of their life. They'll explain you to themselves in whatever way keeps their story intact. You don't have to go with them. You can let misunderstanding exist without sprinting after it with reasons. Your life becomes your explanation. Let it do its work. The most persuasive argument for wholeness is a person who refuses to become smaller than their soul just to be easier to love. And when guilt shows up, because it will at the start, treat it like weather. It's a withdrawal symptom from a lifetime of trading integrity for approval, not a moral alarm. It's guilt raining. Carry an umbrella of breath. Don't cancel your truth because the forecast looked dramatic. Over time, the pattern changes. Your body begins to recognize self-loyalty as safety, not danger. Shadow work stops being myth and turns into a workshop the day you say, "I swallowed anger and called it being easygoing. Now I'm resentful and I don't want this anymore." And then start telling the truth earlier, softer, cleaner. It is the day you admit you have desires that don't fit the version people prefer and stop choosing comfort over reality. It is the day you stop calling your numbness chill and start calling it what it is, shutdown that needs care, not applause. As you integrate, your relationship with time changes. You stop sprinting to the next moment to escape this one. You stop delaying your life until it's perfect. You stop using busyness as a costume for importance. You do fewer things with more honesty. You say simpler words with more presence. You measure your day by how often you abandoned yourself and how quickly you came back. Won't I end up alone? That's the whispered question near the threshold. The honest answer: you will lose company you only kept by disappearing inside it. The deeper answer: you will become incapable of the loneliest kind of loneliness, living next to someone while living away from yourself. People worth having, friends, lovers, colleagues, are drawn to those who aren't for sale, for the same reason tired travelers are drawn to steady lights on a dangerous coastline. Not because the light chases them, because it doesn't move when the waves do. That's what your presence becomes in a world of tides, a reference point, not a rescue boat. The ones meant to find you will. The ones meant to leave will have to leave quickly, because your life will stop offering the distractions they came for. Here are 5 pocket lines that protect your light without hardening your heart. Use them without a thesis. I won't abandon myself to keep your approval. Silence isn't consent. My no makes space for my honest yes. I can witness without absorbing. I'm responsible for my clarity, not your comfort. Stitch them into your day. They prevent tears in the fabric when the wind picks up. And if you need a final practical loop to tie this all down, before any room, whisper, I stay with me. After any room, release what isn't yours. Weekly, keep your 3 sacred appointments. In conversations, ask, clarity or comfort? In conflict, offer one line once. This is a boundary. In love, replace performance with presence. In solitude, call it formation, not punishment. Your aura, your psychological force, your honest gravity, is not a spectacle and not a shame. It is navigation. It shows you where to put your feet, who to walk with, when to stop and let something come toward you. It's a lighthouse, not a siren, a guide, not a trap. Keep it steady. Don't dim to make others comfortable with their shadows. Don't harden to prove you can survive their projections. Stand where you stand. The ones meant to walk beside you won't flinch when you enter the room. They'll breathe deeper. And if this spoke to something you've been carrying without a name, anchor it with a simple covenant you can see tomorrow morning. Presence before pleasing. Boundary is adult love, sovereign empathy. Then, keep your promise to yourself for one day, just one, and notice what changes in the room when you do. If you're ready to wire this into the body, how to make your voice, breath, and micro gestures stop contradicting each other in 3 minutes a day, that's exactly what the next video teaches. One path will challenge the part of you still trying to earn love by shrinking. The other will hand you a quiet map for limits that don't need volume. You'll know which one to click by the way your chest feels right now.